God bless everybody. It's Crosstalk here with another video. Guys, I just want to be real with everybody for a second. As believers, we have to learn how to be honest when things aren't going well. I know sometimes we put on this mask like, I'm blessed, everything is good, I got it all figured out. But behind that smile, there is a struggle, there's a battle, temptation. Sometimes we're tired and we're crying out, and there's nothing unbiblical about admitting that. You need Jesus every single day. I need Jesus every single day. Being a believer doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you know where you take your struggle to. The Bible says in 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Look at Elijah. This was a man of God who experienced incredible victory, and afterward he became exhausted, discouraged, and he wanted to die. God didn't tell him to stop acting weak. God cared for him and met him. In 1 Kings 19, look at David. He didn't hide the pain from God. The Psalms are filled with David crying out to God. And look at Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus knew what was coming. He prayed with deep anguish. Matthew chapter 26, 36, verse 39. So why do we think we have to pretend? And this is what's dangerous when a believer gets into the point where they think, I got this figured out and I don't need anybody. I don't need correction and I don't need prayer and I'm good. That's dangerous territory, because pride can make you stop getting on your knees. You become so confident in yourself that you forget how desperately you need God. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 18 says, pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. And James chapter 4 verse 6 says, God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. That's why we have to humble ourselves before God every single day, not because we're worthless, but because he is God and we are completely dependent on him. Look at the Pharisees in Luke chapter 18 verse 9 through 14. He stood before God comparing himself to other people and thinking he was better. But the tax collector simply cried out, God, be merciful to me, I'm a sinner. And Jesus said the humble man went home justified. So don't ever get to a place where you look at another believer and think you're better than them. Your church might have 10,000 people. Another believer's church might have 3. That doesn't make you more important. We're all saved by grace. We're all dependent on Jesus. We're all called to pick up our cross and follow him. And Galatians chapter 6 verse 2 tells us to bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. And God never intended for us to fight every battle alone. We need brothers and our sisters who can pray with us. We need people who can encourage us. We need people who can lovingly correct us. And most important, we need Jesus. So take off the mask. You don't have to pretend that you have it all figured out. You don't have to be ashamed to say, I'm struggling, please pray for me. And don't become so proud that you stop getting on your knees, because the moment you start thinking, I don't need God like I used to, is the moment you need to run back to him fast. James chapter 4 verse 10 says, humble yourself before the Lord and he will exalt you. So every morning, get on your knees, cry out to God, thank him, ask him for wisdom, ask him for strength, ask him to search your heart, because none of us are above needing Jesus. Not me, not you, not the pastor, not the minister, not the person who has the biggest church. We need Jesus every single day. So if you're wearing that mask, take off that mask, humble yourself, cry out to God, and don't walk this Christian life alone. God bless everybody. Thank you for watching another video. And like always, shalom, shalom.